Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, this is John Paval with an Access Arts Live special edition update. Saturday, September 6th, we have an opera double bill coming to you free of charge on YouTube today, this evening in Europe, a performance of Rusalka by the National Theatre of Brno, and a concert performance of Richard Strauss's Salome by the Cologne Philharmonic Orchestra. So I wanted to come online, let you know a little bit about the background of who's singing whom, and a little bit about the stage director and the conductors for these two performances. One of them's at 7 o'clock in the evening, European time. One of them is 8 o'clock in the evening, European time. So you're presented with a choice that you have to make. And I'm not sure it's all that easy of a choice to make, really. But let me first start out by telling you about the first of them, which is this performance of Rusalka, which is being put on, I'll introduce it properly. Saturday, September 6th, OperaVision live streams the National Theatre Brno's performance of Czech composer Dvořák's Rusalka with a very Czech and Slovakian cast, including Linda Ballová in the role of Rusalka. That'll be at 7 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. This is the story. It's a little bit like, well, to put it the reverse story, the Disney's The Little Mermaid was more or less based upon this Czech folk story, which Dvořák turned into an opera. First performed in 1901 and did not have its debut performance in the United States until sometime in the 1970s. So it did not skyrocket into the international repertoire, but it is firmly a part of it now. And this is a premiere of a new production of the piece directed by David Radok. And we're told it's based on Lars-Åke Thesmann's original set design for Rusalka at the Göteborg, Sweden Opera House back in 2012. Why would that be? And I will tell you why that would be a little later on as I start telling you more about the cast and crew of this particular version. But let me tell you about the singer, the soprano, who is going to be playing the title role of Rusalka, Linda Ballová. She's a member of the, as I said, this is a very Czech and Slovak cast. So if you're looking for a Czechoslovakian interpretation and performance of this very national Czechoslovakian composer, this is your cup of tea. She's a member of the ensemble at the Slovak National Theatre in Bratislava. She has had success in the past playing the title role in Rusalka. She's also performed the role of Janufa in Janacek's Janufa, the title role in Puccini's Sister Angelica, the title role in Janacek's Vek Makropoulos, in Smetana's Prodana Nevesta, and Giulietta in Offenbach's Les Contes de Hoffmann. And at the Brno Theatre, she has played Elisabetta in Verdi's Don Carlos, Cho-Cho-san in Puccini's Madame Butterfly, and Tatiana in Tchaikovsky's Eugène Onegin. So an experienced Slovakian performer in the role of Rusalka in this production. Beside her is another Slovakian performer. Let me pull up his photo for you. Peter Berger. plays the role of the prince. If you don't know the story of this, the story of this is that that Rusalka is she lives under the sea, and she's fallen in love with the prince who visits near the seaside on a regular basis, and she wants to be with him. And she runs into a sort of water deity, or these variously called a sprite or a goblin, who tells her that, well, he can get her there, but she will become mute. She will no longer be able to sing, and as sacrifice she will have to make if she's going to be with this prince. And the story takes off from there. And there also happens to be a character called the foreign princess, who the prince is supposed to marry, and she's very much opposed to the prince going off with Rusalka, and ends up cursing him, and it all ends very badly and very sadly. But I don't want to tell you more of the details. If you don't know the story, it's better for you to discover it in process. So Peter Berger, he's a Slovakian tenor. He's a lyric spinto with specializing in Slavic, Russian, and French repertoires. He has sung the role of the prince in Rusalka at the Bolshoi Theater in Moscow, also in Santiago, Chile, in Tokyo, in Rome, and Beijing. So this is a role he knows. Incidentally, he went to the same music conservatory as Linda Ballová. So they may well, I could not say whether or not they know each other from there. He's also played roles like Alfredo in La Traviata for the Slovak National Theatre, Pinkerton and Madame Butterfly, and Rodolfo in La Bohème at the National Theatre in Prague. And he also is a prolific concert artist. The next of the four principals is the one who plays the water sprite or goblin, who is Jan Stava. Stava trained in Brno. He sings with the National Moravian Silesian Theatre in Ostrava. He had his debut first singing with the National Theatre in Prague back in 2011. He's a soloist with the Janáček Opera, where he has played roles like Bartolo in Figaro and Don Andres in La Pericole. He's been a soloist there since 2010, so he's experienced. His repertoire with the National Theatre in Brno includes Dvořák and the Devil's Walls, Bartolo and Figaro, Sarastro in the Magic Flute, and the High Priest in Nabucco. And then finally, in the role of the foreign princess, let me find this for you. Is Eliska Gatringerova. She has performed fairly often with the National Theatre in Prague, roles like Susanna in Shostakovich's opera Orango, and in Yuri Kadarabek's opera No Man, and his other opera Lolita. And she's sung Tatiana and Tchaikovsky's Eugene Onegin at various theaters in the Czech Republic. She played and sang the role of the foreign princess at the National Theatre in Brno already in 2024, as well as the lead role of Mlada in the opera Dalibor. So those are your four principals in this performance. If you want a full performance opera, this is the one that's available to you free of charge on the OperaVision website, and also on the OperaVision YouTube channel. So you can check that out. Now, before I finish, I do want to mention the stage director and the conductor. The stage director is David Radok, And the reason why David Radok would be basing the set design on a concept from the Göteborg, Sweden opera house in 2012 is that David Radok, although he was born in Prague, emigrated with his family to Sweden back in 1968 after the famous Prague Spring, and then the Soviet tanks rolled in. His family were among those refugees who left and went to Sweden, and he's been directing theater and opera in Sweden since 1980. So he's got 45 years of experience of directing everything from early Baroque to contemporary works. And then starting in 1991, after the Cold War ended, then he went back to Prague and started doing directing in Czechoslovakia, then in the Czech Republic. And he's already over a decade ago, he was collaborating with the National Theatre in Brno, directing Janacek's The Macropolis Case. And he directed that. It was performed both at the National Theatre in Brno and at the Göteborg Opera. And then they started developing a collaboration where they would present the same works in those two cities. So that is how we end up with a Göteborg Opera set design from 2012 in 2025 in Brno at the Brno National Theatre. The conductor he is the music director of the Brno Opera House. And he has, of course, in that capacity, he has conducted things like Rusalka and Salome and the Macropolis Case, which are standard parts of the repertoire there. Once again, if you're looking for a very Czech and Slovak presentation of the premiere opera by the premier Czechoslovak composer Antonín Dvořák, this is it. Now, having said that, an hour after this performance begins, the ARD Klassik will be live streaming a concert performance. Saturday, September 6th, ARD Klassik live streams the Cologne Philharmonic's concert version of Richard Strauss's Salome under the baton of Christian Macelaru, with a cast of Jennifer Holloway as Salome, Ian Peterson as Yochanan, Tanya Baumgartner as Herodias, and Gerhard Siegel as Herod. That'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening European time, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 11 o'clock on the West Coast. Now, this is a concert version, but the performers in it are internationally known opera singers who've sung with most of the top opera houses, both in Europe and in the United States. So even though it's only a concert version, the singing is going to be high quality. This Salome, of course, if you don't know it, it's based on the story of the daughter of King Herod, Salome, who was the one who ended up demanding, was involved in the murder of John the Baptist when it ends up with his head on a plate. But you want to watch the whole story to find out the details of it. Let me tell you about the different performers in it. These are all highly experienced people. None of them are singing these roles that they're singing here. This is not their first time around the block. And let's start out with Jennifer Holloway, who is in the role of Salome. I have several images of her that I will presume to show you. Well, at least two that I want to show you, and I'll tell you why in a moment why I picked out those two pictures. Jennifer Holloway, she's an American, and she first studied at the University of Georgia, then the Manhattan School of Music, but she's firmly in Germany now. If you look her up on her Instagram page, it's Ich bin Holloway. I Am Holloway. And the picture that you see there with the red background, that's from the production of Salome at the Vienna Opera House, which she was appearing in the spring of this year. And she's been playing the role of Salome for about a decade. She started out as a mezzo, but then worked her way up into soprano roles. And she first performed the role of Salome in 2017 at the Semper Opera. Now, the second picture that you have over there, the one just beneath me now, the little darker one, that is from a performance that she did of Salome with Opera North in 2018. Not at all her first time around the block. And, I could tell you about things she's done in the past, but like she's performed, but I think it's easier just to tell you what she's doing this year. So they've already done this Salome with the Cologne Phil for the Ionescu Festival in Bucharest, and which is directed by Cristian Macelaru. Frankly, I don't know how he has the time to do this when when the Ionescu Festival is in full swing right now, but he does. She'll then be playing Donna Elvira and Don Giovanni at the Teatro Carlo Felice in Genoa, Italy. Then she'll play Elsa in a new production of Lohengrin at the Rome Opera Theatre. Then she'll be playing Vanessa, or singing, in the concert version of Barber's Vanessa with the Boston Symphony Orchestra and the Boston Lyric Opera. And then she'll be with the Wiener Staatsoper. She'll be back to that, playing, singing the role of Kundry in Parsifal. And then she'll be singing Christothemis and Electra with the Staatsoper in Hamburg. And she's also known to perform with the Teatro Cologne in South America, with the English National Opera, with the Israel National Opera. She's really, this is an international top soprano in a superb role, which she knows inside out and has interpreted in different ways with different stage directors and conductors. So high quality. Then in the role of Jokanan, let me pull up the photo of the performer who's playing the role of Jokanan, who is also Ian Peterson. Ian Peterson is a real, how can I say it? He's a real Wagnerian kind of tenor. He's known for playing roles like the Hollander in the Flying Dutchman, the Dutchman, Kurvenal and Tristan and Isolde, Amfortas and Parsifal, Hans Sachsen, die Meistersänger von Nürnberg, Gunther and Götterdämmerung. But he also has played the role of Jokanan in Salome before. He was a member of the English National Opera Ensemble for a number of years, and that's where he made his debuts as Gunther, Figaro, Leporello, and roles like that. He'll be back. He was at the Vienna State Opera as Wotan in the Ring Cycle by Wagner, and he's done that role. He's very much in demand for doing that. But he appeared in the role of Jokanan in Salome at the Maggio Musicale in Florence this past year, the 2024-2025 season. So the role is fresh in his vocal cords, so to speak. Once again, a top international tenor in demand, singing a role that he knows and has performed quite recently. Then in the role of Herodias, is a German mezzo-soprano who sang for a long time with the Frankfurt Opera from 2009 to 2020. She's teaching at the Bern University of the Arts now instead. She too has done a fair amount of Wagner and Strauss, the Nibelungen and Kundry and Parsifal, which Jennifer Holloway is going to be singing later this year. So that's interesting, a little kind of a crossover. She often sung Fricka in the Rheingold and the Valkyrie. She's known for Cassandra in the Trojans, Clytemnestra in Electra, and the nurse in Die Frau ohne Schatten. And she was playing earlier this year, at the beginning of 2025, in January, February, she was playing Herodias, the same role, at the Grand Theatre in Geneva. In fact, you can find a YouTube video of her talking about this opera and the role of Herodias. Or Herodias. I'm sorry if I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly. And I encourage you to check it out and see what she has to say about it, because I'm sure it may have something to do with the way she performs the role here. And then finally, the fourth of the principles is Gerhard Siegel. And he has played a Herod at the Vienna State Opera, at the Zurich, not with Jennifer Holloway, at the Zurich Opera House, with the Boston Symphony Orchestra and concert, at the Verbier Festival. He was singing Herod over 20 years ago when he was a member of the ensemble at the Nuremberg Opera. And he's going to be singing the role again next May for the Vienna State Opera. And he is a regular guest at places like the New York Met, the Salzburg Festival, the Covent Garden, the Bavarian State Opera, Dresden, Amsterdam, Barcelona, Berlin, Paris, etc., etc., etc. So once again, this is you could say this is a heavyweight hitters concert version of Salome. And last but not least is a conductor, Christian Macelaru. Now, Christian Macelaru is known, he's been the head guy, the AD and the chief conductor at the Cologne Phil for the last few years. He is now, starting this year, he will now instead be the AD and the chief conductor at the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. He's also the director of the Ionescu Festival, which goes on through almost the entire month of September, with just a star-studded lineup of top orchestras coming to Bucharest to perform, much of which is apparently live streamed on the website of the Ionescu Festival and on Romanian television. And we put up a post about that, which you can double check if you like. He's also been the conductor of the Orchestre Nationale de France. And he is Romanian originally, and there's an old story that goes around. He ended up at Interlaken, where he really got his start at getting sort of international style training by accident. He applied for a summer program of a few weeks in length and didn't hear back from them. This is when he was a very young guy, so I figured he didn't get it. And then a few months later, he gets an acceptance letter. They accepted him with a full scholarship for the full year of classes, not just for a summer thing. Anyway, has he done any opera? He has done some opera. He has conducted Don Giovanni with the Houston Grand Opera and Madame Butterfly with the National Opera in Bucharest in Romania. And he's, one of the top conductors in the world today, very often seen live streaming. So if you follow Access Arts Live, you have seen him live stream before. So folks, that's what we have for you today, this Saturday evening in Europe, Saturday afternoon and Saturday morning on the East and West Coast in the United States. OperaVision's live streaming of the National Theatre in Brno's. Hold on just a second. I need to fix something here on the design so that it's not being blocked. There. The OperaVision live stream of the National Theatre of Brno in Dvořák's Rusalka with an all Czech and Slovak cast. And ARD Klassik's live stream of the Cologne Philharmonic's concert version of Richard Strauss's Salome with an international star cast singing all the four main roles. Quite a choice. The Rusalka is on at 7 o'clock. And if you're not all that happy with it, well, you can switch over to the Salome at 8 o'clock. But I would encourage you, whatever you do, to enjoy these one or the other live stream live while it's being performed for you. Looking at a recording is not the same thing. When you're watching a live stream, you're part of an audience. And the performers are there pouring out their hearts, minds, and souls to inspire and uplift you and thrill you in the moment, together with the in-person audience and the other people in the remote audience. When you look at a recording, it's just as if you're reading a book by yourself in the corner. There's no other audience there. The performing artists, they're not there anymore. They've gone fishing, they're visiting family, they're on vacation, who knows what. It is absolutely not the same thing as taking part in that social event, which is the reason why Access Arts Live exists. So I commend both of these live stream operas to you. Both of them are free of charge. We are so lucky to live at a time when you're obliged to make a choice between not just one live stream opera, but two live stream operas the same evening. And hats off to both OperaVision and ARD Klassik and the Cologne Philharmonic for offering these live streams free of charge to the global audiences. If I were you, if you love opera, and even if you don't know it and think you might want to discover it, well, you can do so free of charge now. And then the next time, if you like it, go to the opera house itself and see it in person. Ciao for now.